It's pretty special. You said it on the first episode. I'm sure, it'll come up time and time again, but we love this sport. It's exciting. Anything can happen. But what drives it is the stories of the fighters, these superheroes who get in the cage and put it all on the line for our entertainment. So for those people who are listening who don't know a little bit of about Aaron Aby's backstory, could you just, especially as you're so close with him, give people a background of what he's battled and overcome over the course of his life and is still a professional cage fighter?
Yeah, this is it is superhuman. We've used that phrase a couple of times already, but he was born with cystic fibrosis. So and especially because he's 30, I think 31 now. Back in the early days of understanding it as a condition, they truly didn't. So it was almost a death sentence before you'd taken your first breath. So he was told, his parents were told, let him enjoy his life as much as he can, but he probably won't make it to 21. That was his life expectancy. So that was before they'd even held him properly in their arms. That was the news that they had. His doctors also told him at that time or told his parents at that time that don't put him in sport. Don't put any extra pressure on the lungs because it's probably going to make the condition worse. We need to manage it with medication. We need to make him comfortable, and that's the route. His dad is quite well known in the world of rugby over in Wales. He's a hell of a character. His uncle is again into rugby, but also into martial arts. And they basically said, "F that." They said, they know how important sport is. As a kid growing up in the UK, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, how important football is, how important rugby is, not just for playing the sport, but for social interaction, for
Yep.
being. So they went, no, the sport will be part of his life, and through that it actually made his condition better. The fitter he got, the more he was able to manage, the more he was able to cope with it, to the point where he has now carved out a place in his life where he's a professional athlete fighting at the highest level. He has his own gym where he trains and inspires other young fighters, great fighters over there, IPC Wrexham, young kids. He is now an ambassador for the Cystic Fibrosis Fighting to Breed charity. And again, it's one of these, just one example of him overcoming odds to become extreme, to become excellent, to become great at something. On top of that, about 3 years ago, 2017, I think it was 2018, a bit longer than that, then 5 years ago, diagnosed with testicular cancer. And because of his condition, you can't go through the normal route. So he tried everything outside of that, all the holistic stuff, all whether it's diet, whether it's I don't know what other stuff that he was using exactly, but they tried everything that they could to manage it and try and defeat the cancer through that. It didn't work. I remember going to a UKFC championships event, and he is one of the main people up there, and I hadn't seen him for a little while. And I watched a dead man walk into the room. I watched one of my best friends come in, and he was a skeleton of a man. The only thing that you would recognize of him was the smile, which was there throughout. This amazing energy and smile. He was still cornering however many fighters that night, as well as help running the event. And you've got to think of how tired. I mean, he looked like he had no energy, but anybody that he was with, he gave as much as he could. He was basically told he had to go on to the traditional forms of medicine if he to stand any chance. But we were told, Aaron Aby will not be here in maybe a month, maybe 2 months, 3 months max. So we were told, his parents were once again told, prepare for your life without your child, without your son, without your best friend. And once again, he overcame it. He went through it, fought through it with a smile on his face. Was told, though, he would never fight again because it's such a toll on his body that, the whole thing from the condition he lives with to the treatment and the depths in which he was close to death from the cancer. And you can't say no to Aaron Aby. You can't say I can't to Aaron Aby because 1 year after, and it was almost a year to the day after he went into remission and he was told he was clear. He made the walk. He fought on UKFC. He headlined the card. It was a hell of a fight. He drew in that fight. But it wasn't about that. It was about making that walk, making all that. And since then, he's fought in Cage Warriors. He's had some amazing victories on UAE Warriors. And next up, he gets to fight for a world title. This is something he's always dreamt about. You've got to think about how many things this kid has had taken away, and he still hasn't quit. You've got to think about how many times this kid has had the odds stacked against him, and he still shows up believing that he can make something magic happen. And on November 4th, you know, he says it's kind of like it almost feels like it's meant to be. There's like a fairy tale ending because it's a huge show. It's a world title. It's against a great competitor in Elias Garcia. He's on a three fight win streak or something. I think at the minute he's been in UFC Combate Global. But once again, and then win or lose, Aaron Aby is a champion. Win or lose, he is one of the best role models, one of the best friends you could ever wish to, best humans you could ever wish to come across on this planet. But on November 4th, it's going to be, you know, will it be a fairy tale ending? And the fact it's for gold is just makes it more exciting.
Wow. I mean, I've got goosebumps just hearing you talk about that. And if anyone deserves it, it is certainly Aaron Aby. And all the credit in the world to his mum and dad, who
and his
said,
uncle,
and his uncle,
his uncle,
sure.
And this and again, his uncle Julian, right? Is and this is again, you think about how many bumps this family have had. His uncle Julian is one of the reasons that he got into martial arts. He is one of the reasons that he is the man he is today. And unfortunately, he suffered a major stroke. I think it was last year or the year before. So you talk about the family going through that, and again, he's got major issues following the back of that. But you know, this is where you learn life is not fair. This is where you learn, you know, you can't predict what tomorrow will bring. And this is why whenever, and I genuinely use this phrase, I think when I have bad days, and we all have bad days, no matter how good our life looks on Instagram, there are moments where I'm, you know, stuck in it, I'm getting frustrated. And then I actually think, what would Aaron Aby do? That's in my head, not what would Jesus do, not what would Aaron Aby do? Because if that family can come together and go through all of that and still be who they are and still, you know, be as positive and fight for everything that they can literally fight for everything that they can get, then yeah, well, who am I to get angry about a bill that turns up early or, you know, whatever else? It's inspiring, mate. And that again is the whole thing about fighters for me. They inspire me. It doesn't have to be a story as crazy as that, but just to, you know, peek behind what makes them, what makes them do this type of thing is what you know, gets my juices flowing.
Yeah, absolutely. And win, lose or draw come November 4th, I think Aaron Aby's legacy is going to far exceed anything that he does in the cage inside the AO arena on that night. But I'm pretty sure everyone is going to be pulling for him inside.
Except Elias Garcia.
Except Elias Garcia. Elias Garcia. But yeah. Even some of Elias Garcia's closest friends might hear that story and go, bloody hell, if he's going to lose to someone.
You just picture his corner turning up in Wrexham t-shirt.